Chapter 17. For the next week and a half, the boys continued to dig in and around the area where X-ray had supposedly found the gold tube. They winded X-ray's hole, as well as the holes Armpit and Squid had been digging, until the fourth day, when all three holes met and formed one big hole. As the days were on, the warden became less and less patient. She arrived later in the morning and left earlier in the afternoon. Meanwhile, the boys continued to dig later and later. "This is no bigger than it was when I left you yesterday," she said after arriving late one morning. Well, after sunrise. After sunrise. "What have you been doing down there?" "Nothing," said Squid. It was the wrong thing to say. At just that moment, Armpit was returning from the bathroom break. How nice of you! How nice of you to join us," she said. "And what have you been doing?" "I had to, go." The warden grabbed at Armpit with her finger fork, knocking him back into the hole. And the pitchfork left three holes in the holes in the front of his shirt, and three tiny spots of blood. "You're giving these boys too much water," the warden told Mr. Pendanski. They continued to dig until late afternoon, a long afternoon, long after all the other groups had finished for the day. Stanley was down in the big hole along with the other six boys. They had stopped using the wheelbarrows. He digged his shovel into the side of the hole. He scooped up some dirt and was raising it up to the surface when Zigzag's shovel caught him in the side of the head. He collapsed. He wasn't sure if he passed out or not. He looked up to see Zigzag's wild head staring at him. "I ain't digging that dirt," Zigzag said. "That's your dirt." Hey, Mom," Magnet said. "Caveman's been hurt." Stanley brought his fingers up the side of his neck. He felt his wet blood and a pretty big gash just below his ear. Magnet helped Stanley on his feet, then up and out of the hole. Mr. Sir made a bandage of a piece of his sack of sunflower seeds and taped it over Stanley's wound. Then he told him to get back to work. "It's not nap time." When Stanley returned to the hole, Zigzag was waiting for him. "That's your dirt," Zigzag said. "You have to dig it up. It's covering up my dirt." Stanley felt a little dizzy. He could see a small pile of dirt. It took him a moment to realize that it was the dirt which had been on his shovel when he was hit. He scooped it up. Then Zigzag dug his shovel into the ground underneath where Stanley's dirt had been.